Hey guys, this is day 5 of building the AI workflow, or the deterministic workflows enhanced by AI automation. It won't be a very long one, so I'm not going to put on the backlighting and stuff to get away that irritating like gray haze over there. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Basically, what I tried to do today was configure this simple CRM mockup of leads and what you would expect to see in a customer relationship management kind of setup. Ultimately, all CRM just comes down to smart database usage, and a fancy word that the word database isn't like this hectic jargon. It's basically rows and columns on an Excel document, and like variations of that. So database management, all that kind of stuff, SQL, Postgres, there's a whole bunch of different options out there. It comes down to this in some way or another, or like yeah, you kind of get it, right? So I try to connect this into the workflow, but man, it took so long. It was so frustrating because I'm on a local host environment, which basically means I'm running this on my own machine instead of on the cloud, where they like want to charge you every month, and that's before like plugging into all the other things. I thought, yeah, maybe it's not going to be so difficult just to kind of get this thing going, and boy, was I wrong. It was very, 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 very tough. And so that kind of thing makes me feel as if just like a non-coder or someone who doesn't necessarily understand this concept of how to get forward in the world of like coding or getting things together. I just thought, is it going to work out for the kind of average person, or like the normal person who's not into coding? And I don't know so much after the experience today, because it really was unnecessarily hard just to get the most basic thing up and running. So with all of that said, I actually found that there's a new way to run this, and it's something that I don't want to do just yet, because it's going to take a bit of time, effort, and energy to figure out all the kinks. But just to let you know that for the most part, there was a lot of struggle just to get some basic stuff going today. So what I'm going to do is try the alternate route. Instead of using something what is perceivably simple, Google Sheets, which is quite nice because you can actually go back to it and see how it's been updated and not updated from just like a normal environment. Just go to your website, or web page rather, type in docs.google.com, go to the Sheets section and see how things are going there. That's kind of the nice way of doing it. But unfortunately, in the world of coding, there is a better way to do it that's faster, cheaper, so self-hosted. It's, I think, apparently 100 times faster than using Google Sheets, because you're manipulating the data on your computer versus going through tunnels via the authentication, getting the information, working the information, bringing it back over the internet through the tunnels and back onto your computer. This way it just gets it done. So what I'm going to do is recreate this in something called a Postgres table. So another word of just saying a Microsoft Excel document, but through that mechanism instead. And then once I've got that created and pulled together, I wanted to set up the first bit of architecture, where we've got an interaction over here, and we say, what, I want you to add a column, change your name, or do whatever inside this Postgres table, and then see how that works out, and then start to manipulate like the database. Because I had this thought that it's not, you don't always have to build step by step, because for me at least, when you do it step by step, it feels like there's different ways to get to the results. So once I've got the database kind of set up, or the kind of Excel document table set up, and interacting with it and changing it and that kind of stuff, that will then become like the kind of core of the operation. And then from there, you can start getting creative about connecting it to your email, your calendar, back to Telegram, like what it is that you want to do with the information on that. And you can also go build the other direction and add that connection into like your outbox and your sent items rather, and have it scan all of the quotes that have ever gone out, and then look at to whom it went, what was it for, what happened there. Like you can like have that automated just to follow up on quotes that have been sent out once upon a time, just to let that person know that you're kind of thinking of them, and you're curious about how the outcome was, and if they didn't choose your business, who did they go with and why, and or did they just put the purchase off until better times, and then just didn't really get back to it. And then that reminder is like, hey, actually, yeah, you know what, I kind of need that now, and this is kind of like a great time, so thanks for reaching out. So a lot of the business can be one that's already been communicated with. So that's kind of what I'm going to get building over here, is just to revitalize the already contacted people that professionals have spoken to. And then start really working with some really fun concepts with having AI agents, but also a human in the loop to give decision making. So it's like fully automated, but also with the personal touch, and that's a kind of oversight to make sure that there isn't just junk going out, etc., etc., etc. So first, I've got to get the database like really working well, be able to insert or delete or update or edit, or just add in new data from other sources, like super easy. Because once you got that as your base, you can do so much with it, especially in the sales field, because the large portion of a business, depending if you're an agency and that kind of stuff, a large portion of like a broker or an agency or a middleman or that style of business is their wealth is their database of clients. That's all the hard work, all the lead capturing, all the prospecting that the salespeople do, the back and forth. Their wealth, because they're not in direct manufacturing or not in direct generation of food or something like that, like a farmer, is their client base. And not enough sales professionals and businesses are working with their existing client base to keep it healthy and to keep it trim but valuable, or to revitalize it, because it's so easy to get busy and overwhelmed and not really have the excited energy to go back and to check in with something that happened last year or the year before. And AI can really enhance that with context. They can summarize, they can work with current day specials, they can pull in the news for the last 3 months or 6 months in advancements for a certain product, and then build that into customized. Like, we're really tailoring the AI element to this to the person who is like the professional, who's adding that context, who's basically interacting with the already quoted to person in the way they would as if they were, that the quoted to person was the only customer, because it's really well thought out, is what I'm building over here and what I'm working towards. But again, unfortunately, I wasted hours today trying to connect the this to N8N, because again, it's local host, so it's on my computer, so I've got to create a tunnel. It's something called ngrok. And then that tunnel makes it publicly available, so that something like Gmail can access it, because it doesn't have access to my local drive. It's been a nightmare. So I'm hoping to create a fix around that. It's just part and parcel of the journey, and I couldn't really show that live because there's a lot of personal information that you have to generate for these keys. So I'm going to try and get a lot of the stuff done and offer more summary videos of how I achieved it, instead of keeping you guys like having to, if you're rewatching the videos, to like skip ahead certain parts, or frustrate you because our attention these days is so much lesser than it used to be, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much the update I've got, and have a great weekend further. I'll probably get some work done on the weekend and hopefully some progress to have our first AI agents editing, manipulating, chatting to our database, our leads, our customers, records, and then I can add some memory to just give them some special context about, this is what I'm talking about, adding context to what it is that we're trying to achieve. This is who I am. I'm a professional in the sales game for the last 5 years in this industry. This is how I manage. This is what I look for. This is how I interact. I come across in a professional, casual way. Whatever it is, I could give your uniqueness. You can even train the AI. This is what this memory function is what I'm talking about. The AI on like your correspondence, to see the way that you speak, the way that you interact, and so on and so forth. So that then gets stored as like a memory. This is why it's called simple memory, because you can make it more complex, but this is like a memory of who you are, for example, or what it's all about. And then what will happen is that this one piece will run all of this together. And just by the way, it doesn't have to cost. So I've got a special way to get AI models to work for us for free, which is insane, and it's going to save a fortune, believe me, because AI models can cost really a lot very quickly. Just like this, for example, just some simple builds got me to $8 very quickly, and if I knew if I continue, it'll be $16, $24, and then by the end of the week we're looking at $50 plus, by the end of the month $300 plus, etc., etc. So I'm definitely trying to save us money along the way, so I'll teach you how to do that next week, and then add the context as I mentioned to, and then have a proper setup here so we don't necessarily have to get ourselves too lost in unnecessary red tape, as I did today and wasted hours trying to overcome it. There is a solution around it, but it's just for like someone who's kind of like a newbie to coding. I think they'll just get demotivated just by that simple step, and then just be like, all right, cool, this is not for me, and that's not what I want. I want to empower businesses and professionals to get ahead in this modern era of transition. All right, guys, that's it for today.